All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special Creators Live from our production area. Woo!
Hey, guys.
As always, my name is Brian. I am joined today by
Edgar. Some of you guys might already know me. I kind of help with the fulfillment area. Some of you business in a box students of mine.
Yes, your disciples.
My disciples.
All right, so as always, you guys know the drill. For those of you who are new, please turn on your cameras. The whole point of these kinds of streams that we do is to interact with you and for you to interact with us, get all the value you can out of us and out of the others in the group, and make sure that you get all your questions answered. Like Victor always says, I want you guys to be greedy and ask everything you need. So if you have a camera, turn it on, please. Victor already told us he's not able to turn his video on today, so you get a pass for today. We got Michael and Yvonne.
Charlie.
We got
Tony.
Valerie, Trey, Laura, and Kevin. Thank you so much for turning your cameras on. We are missing John. Oh, we got Mauricio in
hey,
there.
Mauricio.
We got the Mauricio cam briefly. We got Ryan in here. Let's see, we're missing John, Marlene, Darcy. Edgar's got his computer logged in, so he's on there, but he's not really on there.
I'll be there. I'll be there shortly.
And Matthew and Lorenzo, please turn on your cameras. And then those of you who are still joining in and you're on the attendees list, we're going to promote you to panelists so that you can turn on your cameras and ask questions when you have them. So make sure that if you have a question, you do the raise hand function. That way we can call on you and hear your questions in a more controlled manner. So we always start out with a couple of wins. I'll put you on the spot, Edgar.
Okay.
What's a win that you have to share with everybody to start it out?
Well, one of the wins that I have is, that I've been helping out on the fulfillment side, so we kind of have things dialed in. We have different departments going. That's kind of one of my biggest wins, helping out over here wherever I'm needed. Hey, Valerie, nice to see you.
Big coordination effort.
Big coordination effort. I had sent out the theme, the unknown theme of streetwear. I have my streetwear shirt on, printed here, custom DTF.
Nice. Yeah, why didn't you tell me about that?
Hey,
where's my fit?
I'm the one that's supposed to look cool.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Let's call on Miss Laura. Laura, thank you so much for joining us. Let's hear a win that you've had from this last week, something that you don't mind sharing with the group. Doesn't have to be, related to the business if you don't want to, or whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yes. Well, my win is that I got my new domain for my website. I want to do an e-commerce kind of gift shop on my website, and that's what I'm trying to figure out what products to sell, or if I want to make t-shirts or things like that. So, but I got my new domain, and I'm working on building my website. So
excellent.
What's your domain?
shopgiftstoday.com.
Oh, okay.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Drop it down in the chat so once the website goes live, everyone can visit it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing and thank you for joining us. Let's hear from Marlene. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marlene. Let's hear from you today. What's a win that you can share with the group?
I don't really have a win this week, but besides doing printing, I also do embroidery. So I got a bunch of extra customers last week. So that's
extra customers is always a win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Mm-hmm. Customers is the name of the game.
Awesome one. That's good. Let's see, Mr. Matthew. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Matthew. Let's hear a win from you, and then we'll get started into Edgar's topics today.
So I just did a couple small T-shirt orders, a couple units, and then I'm still waiting on the Army one to come through. They're supposed to be bringing me the T-shirts, so that's 100 T-shirts. So
excellent. That's
Great
right.
job.
You told us about that. What was that, last week or the week before?
yeah, I think a couple weeks ago. It's the Army, man. They take or the Navy. They take forever, and they got a specific color they got to have.
Okay, so shall we get started? Tell them what today's topic is all about.
Where am I looking at? Right here, right here.
Yep, right here,
there.
right down the middle.
Then you can kind of.
I'll get out of your way. I'll get out of your way.
Well, thanks, Brian. Thanks for the intro. So pretty much what we're gonna be covering, we're over here. Typically you'll see us either in the demo room or in our studio, but we actually are, broadcasting from our actual fulfillment area. And I kind of wanted to go over some different tricks and tips. I'm gonna be sharing my screen shortly in regards to, how to start an order from pretty much from start to finish, and not only that, being able to how to analyze your numbers. Because just on some of the people that I was hearing, some of you guys might have larger orders that you might need help with. That's why we're here to help you with the fulfillment. If you find yourself getting these large orders that you're not able to fulfill yourself, you're able to use us as a resource so we can help you fulfill those orders. And pretty much what I wanted to start off with is, one of the actual orders that we have in our production area right now. And feel free, to ask questions. Feel free to interrupt me. I know, I shot out a personal message to, I forget if he prefers Tony or Charlie. I believe it was Tony. Bomb me with questions. That's why I'm here. Today's main thing is production. Whenever I, log in and I tune in, I see a lot of you guys printing in the background. You guys are always, getting it, in the trenches, getting stuff done. So definitely, shoot me any questions. But, one of the orders that we have right now, it's actually, for this specific area, it's direct to film. So for this specific order, what we did, it was, I believe it was about a couple hundred pieces. And then it's all tied in with our work software. So I'm going to see if you guys can see that. This lets us know the different quantities. This lets us know the quantities, the graphic, when it's due, the customer, and all those details, which is super crucial. I know I'm working with some of you guys to help you, be online getting those orders. I know, Laura, you were just talking about how you just got your new domain. So definitely, the main goal is to turn your website into a moneymaker. So then that way, you don't find yourself getting, texts in the middle of the night, emails, hey, I need this, I need that, can you do it? Your goal is to be able to have your customers order online. And for some of you that are barely learning about me or have never seen me before, my background is actually in fulfillment. I used to run a fulfillment shop for 10 to 12 years. We would do a lot of printing for like Uber, Facebook, Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut. So a lot of these large organizations, Disney. So I'm familiar with handling high volume all the way down to a customer that's coming off the street. They want a sample for their clothing line. So I can handle, I have experience dealing with one customer all the way up to multinational corporations. So, and they're all tied in, the same way, from the person that wants one t-shirt. So from the person that just wants one t-shirt to a customer like Facebook, you want them to be able to go online, get all the information they need, be able to order what they need as well. Because, when I got started, it was very difficult to get a nice website going. It was difficult for myself to kind of figure it out. It cost thousands of dollars just to get started, and whatever you got up there wasn't even the best. And that was just a generic, about us, kind of like what you're able to do with, Squarespace and Wix now. Back then, when I got started, that wasn't around, and even right now with our software, you're able to, position yourself online where you can, have your customers order everything online. And kind of what I'm getting at with what I'm sharing right now is that you want to make it super easy for your customers to order online, and it's going to make you look super professional as well. Because, if I see a lot of you, I've tuned in and see that for the most part, a lot of you, it's kind of like you're starting off. You might have one or two people. So for the most part, I remember when I was in the trenches like that, where it's like your main focus is just sell, sell, sell. When I was doing everything myself, like my goal was, I have to be selling during the day, and I would do production maybe early and late. I got good enough where I was literally like doing production as I'm answering, phone calls, doing emails, which I see some of you guys, Michael and Yvonne, you guys are always, have stuff, going on as you're learning. And, you always want to make sure that you're learning, and that's why we're here to provide, knowledge. And, and one of the things is I'm going to actually show you guys our different fulfillment area, show you what we're doing, show you how to analyze an actual order, because one of the mistakes that I made when I was running my production shop early on was that I thought that because I was paying all the bills that I was making money, but I didn't know what my numbers were. Like, I would be just pumping out orders. I didn't know if those orders were actually profitable or not. And I call it like a house of cards. You might feel like you're profitable just because you're paying your bills, but it's literally like you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. So one order might be filling in the gaps for the other order. So it's super important that you know your numbers to make sure that you feel confident that your pricing that you have online. Because if you guys are dealing with retail pricing, and what I mean by retail pricing is that you're dealing with the end customer. Let's say your customer is a restaurant and you're selling the merchandise straight to the restaurant. You want to make sure that your pricing is not too low and that your pricing is not too high, because you always want to put yourself in your customer's shoes. Because if I'm the customer, if I'm the restaurant and I'm paying $20 for a shirt, then I'm also going to be getting hit up by other printers, and they're going to be like, oh, you're paying $20, you should be paying 15. But if you're fairly priced correctly, then you won't have any issues. And then when you're dealing with those types of customers as well, I'm gonna go full circle today, and the different things that I'm gonna be covering. So bear with me. Sometimes I'll be going here and then I'll zigzag over there, because it'll all eventually tie in. And you want to have that good customer experience, the good customer journey. So it all starts from them ordering online, getting the pricing, submitting the order. You get your order sheet that comes in. Right here in the back, you're gonna see that we have different people in the fulfillment area. But when you guys are doing this yourself, you want to have your order sheet. So then that way okay, oh, this order is due in 3 days. I need to order the blanks. I have my ordering system that gets me everything. So I'm not sure if you're able to kind of pan the camera over here, or I'll just pick it up. This is an actual order that these are going to Hawaii for one of our free jet customers. They needed help, fulfilling these. So these are all, this is called papaya. I just barely learned about this color last week. I didn't even know papaya existed. But, it's going to Hawaii. That's what they want. And that's, us having the flexibility of offering those options to the customers. And they just went online. They saw what we offered. They liked it. And that's how they went. And then, I wanted to show you guys our actual, where we run our cheetahs. I was talking about, streetwear, and we have one of our customers that he does a lot of streetwear. I believe he has 3 or 4 free jets, but he does thousands of shirts that he needs help with, and we're able to fulfill, he does as much as he can on his end with his printers, but he gets so many orders that we help him do the fulfilling. We, add the custom neck tag as well. So I'm going to show you some of the streetwear stuff that we have going on. So I'm going to walk right over there. Are we good? B-cam. Okay. So this is, are you able to move that camera around? Okay. So right here, we have the cheetah. In case you guys are not familiar with the cheetah, this is our industrial direct-to-garment printer. This one for a colored shirt, you're gonna, for a white shirt, it takes maybe 40 to 50 seconds, if that. This is kind of an actual live order that we're running right now. So I'm not sure if you're able to, it's getting going right now. So it's already starting to print. As you can see, we're like in the 1960s. We have our couches covered with, vinyl plastic. So that's how you want to have your, if you're running production, you want to take care of your equipment as best as possible. These are industrial. They're designed to, take the beating, which is the same as the free jet. The free jet is also designed to be in a, production environment. When I was doing fulfillment, we didn't have the cheetahs. We actually had 12 free jets in production. And I wish we would have had cheetahs. It would have made life a lot easier. And the free jets, we actually had them in our screen printing facility. So we had a 12-foot long oven, and we had the free jets all around that oven, and we were screen printing at the same time. So this order is starting right here. If you can zoom in zoom in on all those print heads. We have how many do we have for color, Brian? You said four for
So there's going to be 4 for white and 6 for color. So
Oh,
it'll
wow,
be
10.
CMYK, orange and green, and then 4 white.
How's it looking, Mauricio? Are we pretty zoomed in? Oh yeah, I see that. That looks good. So as you can see, while one is printing, we're loading the next one. And then for this specific customer, these are large prints. So we're doing custom printing for this one. It's like every order is different. This one, you know, the max that we do is these big prints for this specific customer. And then we do special settings. We actually put a white underbase on the white shirts. Gives it that extra pop. Go straight in the oven.
Straight onto the conveyor.
So as you can see, I'm gonna help it out and then over here, are we running this one already? We're running this printer over here for same customer. We're doing black shirts over here. So typically the cheetah can do one shirt in about a minute for your production environment. You know, one shirt, white shirt, maybe like 30, 40 seconds, depending on what setting you have it at. You know, right now we have it at, like I said, specific settings for this. And then let me get out of the way. Let me get out of their area so I can keep talking while you're filming. So typically, one operator per cheetah, because you know, literally as you're printing, you're loading, as you can see what Walter's doing. Joel, if you can zoom into the order sheet that he has on the cheetah. We're good to go. How much is the cheetah? How much do you have? That's a Brian question. Brian?
I believe cheetahs are starting at 260,000.
About 260,000. Or you can trade in your Lamborghini for one of these. So can you get that one going, Walter? So yeah, these printers, yeah, 260,000. Definitely, you know, it's not a cheap price ticket. But these are primarily if you have the volume, because if you have the volume, these units, you know, pay for themselves. You know, it's kind of like having an elephant as a pet. You want to make sure you have a lot of peanuts to be feeding it, or else you're gonna have a bad day. You want to make sure that these, you know, are constantly running. But the cool thing about these is that, you know, it doesn't matter if you have the Free Jet, the i2, the Cheetah, or the top secret one that we're gonna show you in a little bit. They all have that wet cap technology, which means that, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, having the extra environment, you know, humidity controlled. You know, they're not as sensitive as other units. They have the wet cap, so you have confidence that the print heads are, you know, that you're not gonna go to lunch. You come back from lunch and then it's all, you know, dried up. So what we're doing right now, these have the capability to do one pass, which means it's gonna start printing the white base, and then as it's printing the white base, right after it, it's gonna do the color layer. So it's gonna bang it out in one pass. But right now for this specific order, what we're doing is that since it's kind of a large design, we're putting down a lot of ink. We'll do white first, it'll go to the next one, then it'll come back and do the color layer. So then that gives the white ink a little bit of time to sit and, you know, gel a little on there. Are we able to do screen printing as you're doing direct to garment?
Like, do we do it?
Yeah, we have screen print partners. If you guys want to put my email in the chat, so we can help you out with. And it's funny because one of the things that I wanted to cover, you know, that, you know, the information that I share for our business in a box customers is how to handle different orders. You want to make sure that, you have all the options that you need, because like this specific order can be thousands, but it can be done with screen printing just because of the variations and different artwork. But I was actually just talking to a customer. She has a couple free jets, if I am correct, and she was bidding against vendors that were doing screen printing. So I talked to her. She was a little bummed out. She's all like, "Yeah, I bid on this order that was like 8,000 pieces," and she was quoting it with direct to garment. And I was talking to her and I was educating her, and I'm like, you need to know what different decoration methods are available, because I told her, if you're talking to me about 8,000 pieces, for the most part you are going to go screen printing, unless even if it's like super complicated artwork, full color, realistic artwork. If you really know what you're doing with screen printing, you're always going to be screen printing for that specific volume. So definitely, especially like a lot of you guys that tune in, you guys do more than more than direct to garment. Some of you do just direct to film, but you definitely want to have all your bases covered. And the basic items you want to have covered when you're doing as a decorator. When I was doing fulfillment, I had screen printing, embroidery, direct to garment. Direct to film didn't exist when I was doing fulfillment, which that would have been a game changer for us, because I don't know if some of you guys remember, we used to do all over sleeves, and for direct to garment you have to pre-treat the sleeves, throw them through the oven. It was like a nightmare just to do sleeves. All your inside neck hits, those were difficult with direct to garment, but we got them done. So, to answer that question, we do help out with screen printing. Our fulfillment center is designed to help you out with any help that you have, because there are some orders where you're gonna have to screen print. Like, let's say I would do orders that were like maybe 500 pieces, where it was like one color front. We would screen print the front. We would do full color on the back with direct to garment. So it just depends on you knowing what is out there, because it's kind of like, you guys tune in weekly to get educated with the different things that we're doing. Hey Brian, so you guys tune in to learn different things. So it's definitely, you want to make sure that you up your knowledge, because you are going to be competing with other companies that they might do screen printing, direct to garment. They might do different decoration methods in-house, but just because they do it in-house, doesn't mean that you're not able to compete with them. This is where you have to have your outsourced partners, like, get in touch with us. We'll help you be competitive, because when I was doing screen printing, I didn't start off by doing screen printing. I was actually outsourcing all my screen printing until it made sense for me to bring in all the equipment, because screen printing, like, for those of you that aren't familiar with screen printing, it's like night and day compared to direct to garment. Like, direct to garment, file print, you're already rocking and rolling. Screen printing, for some of you guys that already know screen printing, I know you guys are gonna get bored with this, but some of you guys that don't, you have to manually mix the ink. Every color you have to manually make a screen for it. You have to register it. So, your setup time can last you quite a bit of time just to start running your first order. So, this design right here, now he's running a different design. So I'm going to show you how big this is. So it's a pretty large, design. So some of you guys, that have a free jet, the free jet does about 12, like when I was running the free jet, I would do 12 by 16, which is pretty long. This one has the capability, like it's the same capability as the i2. The i2 is 16 inches by 20 inches, which is similar to the Cheetah. But, we can help you do these big prints. This print right here, it seems like it's pretty large, but Walter, is this one just like 12 inches wide? Yeah. So some of you guys can be like, man, I want to do streetwear. How can I compete? This looks pretty large, but this is 12 inches wide. Like, if you guys have a free jet, you'll be able to knock this out, like, you know, just wearing this. And this is like pretty large, you know. Large was, you know, in for a little bit, then it's like large wasn't popular, and, you know, large is back in the market. You know, everybody wants these large, you know, oversized prints. So I'm not sure if we have any more questions in the chat, Mauricio. Crickets. Tony, I asked you to bomb me with questions. You've been, you know, we've been playing phone tag all week, missing each other. This is like, I have you right here. I'm your hostage. Ask me whatever you want. If we don't have any questions, you know, I think this is a good time for me to go and break down the numbers. We have a question or no?
So my printer, so I had a time lapse in time of printing, and wasn't printing. So I went to print last night and realized that one of my white ink bottles, the ink was not flowing. So I discovered that the issue was the dried ink in the bottle. How can I fix that?
That would be a good Brian question.
Depends on, you know, what do you mean by dry ink? Like the whole bottle dried up?
No, the bottom of it, the ink is dry. So there was ink in there, liquid. So I'm thinking it's just build up, and it just.
Yeah, so that's like the
it
pigment
caused the,
settling.
line.
Yeah, you have to be really careful. Now I understand what, like, you have to be really careful with that, because that'll damage your print head.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way when we were doing production. You know, the solution for that is maintenance. You know, a lot of the costly mistakes that I learned in production were user error, not printer error. So, you know, what you want to do on a daily basis, you know, you want to agitate for the free jet, you want to agitate the white, you know, make sure that it's, you know, because all the pigment is, you know, the white is going to settle more on the bottom.
Right,
So
that's what,
so our staff, when they went in there, like, they had to turn on like 12 of them, and they were literally like, you know, turn the switch on the back, power, shake, go to the next one. So we had a little conveyor belt just to turn them on. But that was one of the main steps, is moving it around. And then our maintenance was, if I'm not mistaken, about every week, we would take out all the ink. We would take the bottles out, wash them with warm water, make sure that everything was nice and good.
okay.
And then we would put them back in. But you have to make sure that they're nice and dry, because one of the times we were having issues with our printer, I couldn't figure it out. And what happened is that by you taking care of that bottle, you want to make sure that the actual line that goes in the bottle is not hitting the bottom. You want it to have, what is it, like half an inch away from it, or a quarter of an inch?
Like a quarter inch, yeah.
Like
from
a
the
quarter
bottom
of an inch from the bottom, because that way, if it's all the way to the bottom, not only it might not fully suck in the ink, but then it's more of a possibility of it pulling in, you know, the pigment in, and that's gonna flow straight to your print head, and it's gonna damage your print head. So definitely, you know, if you're not gonna be using your printer, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, the advantage is, like, when I was starting off, I had my first free jet, I would leave it for a week and I'd be good, but I wouldn't turn it on without making sure that everything else looked good. So, you know, the advantage is, yeah, you can let it sit, but definitely maintain it. You know, you want to make sure that, you know, if you're not going to use it for, you know, you're going to go on vacation, you know, just kind of plan around that. But, you know, like I said, it all ties back to having your right maintenance for your equipment. You know, Ron has, you know, 2 printers in the background, and I'm pretty sure, you know, yep, Ron's killing it. So, you know, you want to make sure that your equipment's nice and maintained. Luckily, Ron has 2 printers. One goes down, he has another one as backup. But, you know, he has his procedures on how to make sure those printers are running smoothly. But, you know, tying back to what we're doing here, use us as your last resort. You have an order you need it, you know, help with, we're here to help. But Valerie, to answer your question in a long way, yes, maintenance.
So, okay. So I didn't expect for the ink in the actual bottle to get dry outside of everything else, the print head and all of that. So it's like the in the ink bottle itself. So what I did was, when I realized that the ink was not pulling even in the line, because I kept watching my line. So then that's when I realized there was an issue in the bottle. So I opened it and I could tell the thickness on the line. So I poured all the ink out back in the bottle. So now and I didn't want to assume and put, do I need to use distilled water, regular water? You know what I mean?
If you're gonna flush the line, it'll be with distilled water. But if you're not having ink flow already, you might have another direction that you would need to take it. If, let's say, the print head is already clogged, just filling it up with water won't necessarily help. So are you still under warranty, Valerie?
No.
Oh, well, that's something else that we got to talk about later on, but let's address this first. So,
it's the line. I know for sure it's the line in the one white ink bottle. So the print head is, I had cleaned that, and I did the nozzle check cleaner. So I did that. It's literally the translucent in the line coming out the bottle. So that's where, and I saw the ink down in the bottom of it when I poured it out. So that's how I'm saying I know that's where the issue is.
okay,
So
then
just use some distilled water to flush it out.
yeah, if you want to try flushing it out, then go ahead and use distilled water rather than any other kind of water, and see if that does the trick for you. If not, you have my contact information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and shoot me an email if that doesn't do the trick, and I can give you some other pointers.
Okay.
Yeah, shoot Brian and include me in it, Valerie, just to make sure that Brian's doing his job. I'll make sure that he's helping you out.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, you never reach out to me. I'm like right here for you.
I sent you an email on something and you didn't respond back. I know you're busy. But
Now who's not doing their job?
I sent it last night. It's been a minute.
Okay.
But I did not email you last night because I knew the Creators Live was going to be today. So I was like, I'll just ask the question there. But I do have a question for you. I'll send you an email.
All right, I'm gonna jump on the monitor and go over how to make money, making sure you're making money.
Ooh, math. It's the money math. That's the best kind of math.
So this is, I was kind of going over, how to have your website on. This is, a website for one of our customers. And we help them put this together. So, you can see them. They have their own custom, ventaoutlets.net. Their customers can come in here. We help them build out all the products, pick and choose exactly, what they want to order. But, you want to make sure that the pricing that they have online or the pricing that you have online is pretty competitive. You want to make sure that you can make money. You want to make sure that it's super easy for your customers, to go online, pick exactly what they want to do. Have the different color options, quantities, go through the checkout process. But, with the time that we have, I wanted to go over one of the orders that we ran, Brian. So one of the orders that I'm going to show you, this one right here, I'm going to quickly show you the actual order sheet for it. And then I'm going to go down the numbers because, you want to have all your numbers dialed in just to make sure you're 2039. Oh, so I wanted to go over this specific order. You make sure that you know your numbers specific. So I have on here the task. We're gonna sort the 200 pieces, verify the quantity. So sorting out your order, like I put it on here. It shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to sort out 200 shirts. Pre-treat the order about 4 hours. And I'm estimating 4 hours the way that we're doing it right now, which is, we pre-treat and throw it through the oven. We can do about, if you're doing it max capacity, you can do about 200 an hour. But right now, I put an estimate of 4 hours. So what I was getting at, we have 15 minutes to print out the direct to film, you know, cut and apply DTF transfers with 2 heat presses. It shouldn't take more than an hour and a half with 200 pieces. Print, right here with the Cheetah 50 an hour. It shouldn't take more than 4 hours to print it. Catch printed shirts from oven plus QC, about an hour and a half. Somebody that's catching them, folding them, doing quality control. Pack the shirts for pickup, 4 boxes estimated at 15 minutes. So this is something that I did myself because I have experience in production. So that's why, you have the whoever's managing it, they're like, okay, I'm going to estimate, that it's going to take, about 11 hours and 15 minutes. We're going to have 2 staff dedicated for this. So it's going to be 5 hours and 55 minutes. So let's call it a good 6 hours. So my estimation is it should take a good 6 hours to do it. And if you're quoting out an order, and if you're doing it yourself, when I was doing production myself, like it was a game changer once I learned my numbers, because I used to tell customers, yeah, 200 shirts by tomorrow. Yeah, no problem. And I only had one free jet. And, I had to print, 18 to 20 hours, sleep 4 or 5 hours. So it was horrible. But now once you know your numbers and somebody says, hey, I have 200 shirts, can you do it in, one day? I'm all like, if I'm by myself, it's gonna, you're gonna be pushing it. I'll be like, I can do it in 2 to 3 days. So it's knowing your numbers. So, and then you are able, if you have somebody that's helping you out, like Ron, he said one of his big accomplishments was that he was able to get somebody to help him out. So Ron will know that, okay, if I have one guy by himself, I should take him, a day and a half, let's call it 2 days tops, for him to do that stuff. But you'll know your numbers, and then if like, okay, if I was to help out my guy to, both of us together, we can knock it out in 6 hours. And this is a sheet that you hand your people that are helping you, because in that way they know, okay, Edgar's telling us that it's going to take about 6 hours, both of us. It's not like walking behind them with the stop clock. That's just to make sure that we're in sync and we're on the same page. Because if I'm estimating 6 hours and it takes 2 days, then there's a big disconnect right there. And that's where, my job as helping Walter. Walter's our production manager, and he's the one that's making sure everything's kind of moving along. So if there's a disconnect, we can always, communicate with each other. And then now going over to the main thing, which is the numbers, you see on their order revenue, 2,039. We have the t-shirt revenue by size. So you have to know, how much you're collecting for each size. So this is a special order. We are, most of you guys that are doing printing, especially if you're doing retail printing, you should be making a couple bucks just on the shirt, as a markup. So right here, order revenue, we have for this specific one, $885. Then we have our t-shirt cost, $730 with 70 cents. Our profit is $154.30 just for processing the shirts. The output, we're doing $4 a print, and like this is for our Omni customers. So you guys, don't do $4. You guys should be at 7 or 8. So, these are for customers. Are you guys still hearing me? Okay. So these are for our Omniprint customers. So as an example, I want you guys to charge $7 or $8. Send your order to us. We're gonna charge you $4, and you're gonna make $3 to $4 just by sending it over to us. So this is $4 is like super cheap. We're doing industrial printing, high volume printing. So definitely you're not gonna be able to, if you go under $4, that's a big no-no. So then, the DTF for the back, $1.75 for 200 pieces. So the total print revenue is 1,150. So I know, okay, we collected, that's what we're collecting. Ink is $1 a shirt. The pre-treat, 25 cents. DTF, the ink, 15 cents. parchment paper, 10 cents. So you got to factor in everything, you know. So right here, you know, we have 200 bucks just an ink, 50, and you know the DTG, the pre-treatment, 30 for the DTF, jack business in a box. Okay, so pretty much what I was getting at, you know, you want to have your numbers dialed in, you know, for labor, 35 cents for each one. I literally sent out a video yesterday for our business in a box that breaks down everything more in detail. And I put, if you're yourself doing it, this is estimated on $17.50. If you're printing yourself, you should be paying yourself bare minimum 20 bucks an hour, ideally 25. So when you're costing out your labor, make sure that you're paying yourself, because one of the mistakes I did when I was printing, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll charge this guy $2. It's gonna cost me $1 in ink. I'll make $1, and I'm not even factoring paying myself or anything. So you want to make sure you have all your numbers. Back DTF application, 12 cents. Sorting, 3 cents. Printing and cutting the films, 5 cents. Curing, folding, and packing, 15 cents. So my total labor is $210. And you know, you want to make sure that you have all these numbers figured out, because then the next thing that's in the X factor that I have here at 0 is because each one is going to be different from you guys. And this is something that you guys will, you know, figure out over time, like curing the oven. You know, how much does it cost you per hour to have your oven on? One stalls heat press, how long, you know, how much does it cost you for 1 hour? Those things pull quite a bit of juice. You know, 2 tag heat presses, you know, 1 cheetah, 1 DTF printer. So the best way that I would recommend you guys figure this out, because it's going to be hard to do it per order. But if you guys do, you know, 10,000 prints in 1 month, and you have all your utilities, try to divide it by the 10,000. It'll kind of start helping you gauge it. But these costs shouldn't be the ones that break the bank. The ones that are going to break the bank are going to be, you know, your labor and your supplies. Then on here we have sales rep, 1 hour. You know, it should take about 1 hour to talk to the customer, get the order, process the order. Admin about 15. So right here, net revenue, we have the t-shirt profit 154.30, print revenue collected, total expenses 1,240 with 70 cents. So then our gross profit is $798 with 30 cents. So if everything goes according to plan, our net profit is about $800. And then on here we have net profit per hour to staff. And what I mean by that is that between both of them, we're bringing in $133 an hour. If you break it down by person, that's $66.50 per person an hour, which is your net profit. So it's good to know these numbers, because I was literally, you know, just having a conversation with a customer where they're like, hey, Edgar, I understand, but it's kind of hard to bring somebody at 15 bucks an hour. I'm struggling to pay myself. Then I'm like, once you know your numbers and you know that, hey, every person I add on, I should be making $66.50 after I pay everything, then I'm like, okay, I want to add another one because I should be making more and more. Like, you have 10 people, you should be making 666 bucks or so, you know, an hour. So it's important knowing your numbers, because if I process this order and I'm like, oh man, we're losing money, then that's a big red flag. So this is why it's important to know your numbers. And once you have your numbers dialed in for direct to film, direct to garment, even with screen printing, you'll have confidence that you're able to give, you know, the accurate production time, cost, and making sure you're, you know, that at the end of the day, it's not just breaking even. You want to make money. It seems like, yeah, man, we made 800 bucks. That's all great. But it's like, now we got to focus on, you know, more research and development, buying equipment, expansions. So having profit is what really makes it fun. You know, when I really started to enjoy printing, I hated printing for a while, for years, because I was like barely breaking even. I was breaking my back. But once I dialed it in and started making profit, I'm like, okay, now we can add printers, we can add help, we can actually take a vacation. That was one of my biggest accomplishments, was like taking a vacation and not even have to look at my phone. This is what's going to help you out. And I know we're running out of time, so I'm not sure if we have any questions.
So this production tracker that you have right here and what was going over today comes with Business in a Box.
Yeah. And that's one of the things. So it's kind of like an ongoing thing. So for our Business in a Box, I like to go over different things. Like, what I shared in a video that I sent out yesterday was pretty much how to know your numbers. We did a video that kind of how to manage production. So we have a lot of content based on what customers are saying that they need help with. So it's kind of like it's we have the structured set content, and then we constantly add based on what people are telling us they need help with. And one of the biggest things that I found people were struggling is, hey, am I making a profit?
Right. That's right. That's really important. You get the excitement of going ahead and printing, but the glory comes out of making money. And you can understand that, it can motivate you a little more. So that's what's motivated me to move forward with the Business in the Box with.
And I'll share this with you, Tony. I thought I had sent you this one. If you guys want to get a copy of this, put your email in the chat, and I'll email you a copy of this so you can have it as a reference and kind of help you break down the numbers. And this one's primarily for direct to garment, direct to film, but you can plug it in for anything for screen printing. It's just, help you dial it in. So put your information in the chat, and I'll definitely send it your way, Tony.
Right. And last, I don't want to hold everybody up, but I know I love the idea of the fulfillment part and outsourcing. And I came across an individual, because even though I'm not printing out, I'm marketing right now and doing everything. So I did come across somebody who was even asking me about screen printing. So I'm in the process of getting my brochure done, and I'm gonna be talking to you about that offline. I want to get my business cards and my brochures, but I want to offer that as an outsource as well, right from the beginning. So it's just, that's something I want to talk to you offline about. So when I put that out there, I want to be able to offer that as an outsource.
No, that's a good point. And that's kind of what I was covering earlier, is like covering your bases with, even though you don't do it in-house, you can outsource it.
Yes.
Once you have the pricing, you want to have, a couple different people to help you out. You have the pricing, you mark it up. But when you're dealing with outsourced vendors, this is where like the trust goes both ways. They want to make sure you give them good artwork, you pay them good. You want to make sure that they don't overcharge you, that if they tell you 3 days, they're not going to take 2 weeks, because at the end of the day, they represent you, whether your customer knows it or not.
Right.
They represent you. So they don't deliver, you don't deliver, you're the one that looks bad, not them. So Brian, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Edgar. All righty. All right, Ron's headed to Atlantic City tomorrow. Love to see it. I'll go ahead and let the team know to save a bottle of champagne for you, Ron. Okay, you guys, so any other questions before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Hopefully you guys found a lot of value. We try to, mix it up this week.
Can I see a thumbs up in the chat if you found Edgar's time here of value?
Highly billable.
Highly billable.
That's what it's called.
Here we go. I see at least one thumb.
Okay. One thumb. I'll take
Okay,
it.
Over here. Yeah, we
if
got
I
a
can
bunch.
change one life, that's all that matters.
There we go. Great. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. We are already over time.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's Creators Live. We will see you next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific as always. And if there's anything you need in the meantime, feel free to reach out to either of us. Our emails have been in the chat throughout this meeting. And make sure that you guys are also intermingling between each other. You can lean on each other as good resources as well. I know there was someone who was reaching out to me who was wanting to reach out to another member here. So this is the way to get a hold of each other. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.